This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we have a great Power Pundit panel. As always, John Galtney, the economist, is here. Mike Bosma of the Bosma Group, and Chris Wicker, who is now spokesperson for the Washoe County Democratic Party, former chairman. Pleasure to have you all here. As we tape this show on the 26th of August, it is the morning after the death of Edward Kennedy. Your reflections, John?
You know, I was just saying to Chris moments before you turned the camera on that when I learned this morning, turned on the TV, I thought the last keeper of Camelot is past. And I think my reflections probably are in a way abstract, because I think he represented maybe a core of politicians who saw the American wealth-generating machine as an invincible item, and really the only political question was how to disseminate the wealth. That he was replaced in the Democrat.
Interesting, you know, somebody who was as liberal as Ted Kennedy is, and the icon of liberalism, and yet on so many issues he worked across the aisle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and building that consensus is really, I think, you know, when you get that dream, you know, the Camelot, I think that's kind of what's lacking today. You know, what are we as a country? Where are we going? You know, the Obama administration is working very hard to, you know, spur on the economy, but why? Is it to create a better standard for everybody, or just to create an insane amount of level of debt for our grandkids to repay? And I think that sense of, you know, that actually I'd say Clinton had a good handle on finding that balance between prosperity and being, you know, and a legacy. You know, we need to find that vision as a culture, and I think the Kennedys really had epitomized what that vision was then.
And there's almost an irony that Ted Kennedy and Caroline Kennedy came out in support of Obama instead of Hillary Clinton, and healthcare being one of Ted Kennedy's major passions over the years, and yet at this point it's you know, an area of negativity for President Obama. Do you see the irony there?
Oh yeah, I think, and I think one of the ironies is this, that you know, Ted Kennedy stuck true to his principles, but he understood that in a democracy, compromise is the key to getting things accomplished for the people. And to me, the irony is that in this healthcare debate, which was his, he has pushed this for decades, that I think his ability to work across the aisle simply wouldn't have worked in this healthcare debate because of the way it's taken shape. And I think that the way it's taken shape, the Republican leadership is just not going to allow a healthcare bill if they have anything to do about it. And I think that Ted Kennedy, who could work so well with John McCain and Sam Brownback and Orrin Hatch, I don't think his magic could have been brought to bear now. But I think that what he could have done is two things. One, he could have rallied the Democratic support for it, and number two, he was the 60th vote in the Senate.
The other thing is that it's interesting because, you know, we have politicians in our state that have major problems with negative things that have occurred in their personal lives, and Senator Kennedy is in a way the epitome of somebody who had major problems in his personal life, and yet 50 years later he's revered. What's the lesson that we should be learning there?
I think the lesson, and if you forgive me for a second, years ago I was sitting around Piccadilly Square when Clarence Thomas was being interviewed, and one of the Brits said to me, "What in the world does anything this have to do with being a Supreme Court justice?" And I said, well, Americans like to believe that their people are good people that are sitting in their Senate or their Congress. They said, you know, he said to me very bluntly, had we been that dumb, we would have never elected Churchill, and you'd be speaking German. And so, because Churchill obviously made so many of those same mistakes. So I think the bottom line is that he was able to overcome the stereotype that we believe politicians ought to be, and I kind of applaud him for that process of saying, I'm a good politician. I may not be the best human being in the world, but I'm what you need in the Congress.
Okay, 30 seconds apiece here.
But I think a good politician has to be able to create a bridge across the aisle, and I think that on both parties, part of it is broken. That's why there's no consensus, there's divide in the nation, and that true leadership comes to be able to find those areas of common ground and consensus.
And Ted Kennedy represented to me what was best about the U.S. Senate, the ability to state your principles, fashion legislation in support of those principles, and reach across the aisle and accomplish something for the people.
It really is the end of an era.
It is the end of an era.
Okay, that's where we got to leave it. Thank you all very much. We appreciate it. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this time out. Starting on September 3rd, Nevada Newsmakers is going to take a look at critical healthcare issues across the state. These some fascinating programs. You won't want to miss any of these episodes. As always, you can watch Nevada Newsmakers 24 hours a day at NevadaNewsmakers.com. You can download our shows free of charge from iTunes for your iPod. Coming up on the next broadcast, she's running against Senator Harry Reid. Sharon Angle will be here. You won't want to miss it. We'll see you on the next broadcast. Thanks for watching and listening.